greater mass of your silence. There's some things you think, 6 elements and. Or set or great. Yeah, there's some. Yeah. That's surviving that solid space. Yeah. It's time. That's something I. My mom, not really, she's very concerned, she's bad. She heard of the great, she's fine to those kids. It's fine. It's not just work. Low, profile rates. Paramedics, like the idea is that it's not.
Six o'clock, yep.
Six, good. Guys, it's 6 o'clock. Everybody's ready. Everybody ready over there? We all good? Okay. 6 o'clock. Get my mic set here. Okay. Need to call this meeting to order. 6 o'clock. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve agenda.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you vote, Judy? Did you vote? Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, let's say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we go to public comment, something I just thought we'd talk about for 1 second here. On our Zoom video, I've been made aware this week, I don't know much about Zoom and meetings, that it's easy to hit a button to show just the board and the speaker and not all the people on Zoom. And we've had some issues in the past where there's been people who don't realize their camera's on and went to the bathroom and all kinds of things. We don't want to have any indecent things happen. So we need a thought of the board to, Corey, you know how to do that. You know how to make it where it's just the speaker, the room and the speaker and the supervisor. You know how to do that? No, all the extra people on Zoom. I had somebody do a Zoom meeting and show me how to do it this week. So just you can make it where they can still see us, but we don't have them in the background in case something would happen. We don't want that liability. So does the board think that's a good idea to get that done, or?
I would say we just move forward and not worry about that.
I would just suggest that people, don't have their cameras on.
By having that and all the Zoom meetings on other counties, it doesn't do this. It doesn't have it this way where the guests are on there showing where they're walking
I think
around.
there's a way that we can control that.
No, we can. I had it done this week. So I'm saying we want to give the instruction to do that, just to have they'll see us, but we don't see them. So anyway.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Okay, well then I would find that too. So we'd like you to move forward, Corey. The board spoke on that. So we don't want the liability of somebody doing something decent on their, in the back of our meeting video here. So take action on that, please. Okay, now we have, public comment time. Please be respectful and come up and speak.
Good evening. My name is Heidi Carter. I live in Clarinda. Like other landowners, I received my tax payment in August. And in preparation for the jail referendum, I compared the 2023-2024 statement to what I paid 5 years ago and what I paid last year. 2018 to 2019, I paid 1,616. 2022 to 2023, I paid $1,906. And from 2023 to 2024, I just paid the first 6 months, I will pay $2,376. In 4 years, my taxes increased $290. From last year, my taxes increased $470 or 19.78%, which was quite a jump compared to previous years. And the Board of Supervisors has approved $22,000 for an educational campaign about the new jail, which is about $11,000 for September and $11,000 for October. I am anxious for this educational campaign to start, so I can attend the meetings, I can tour the jail, I can listen to the presentations, go to Facebook, webpage, all the different things. And I see that we will be discussing the jail referendum tonight, which is great. So we can find out when the educational campaign has started. And if it has, I am not aware of it. And that we have spent much time deliberating other things for the county and the taxpayers, like our grader, which I greatly appreciate. And we're going to deliberate about this educational campaign, which is super. And because I want to know how much my taxes will increase next year if the referendum passes. How much will I pay in taxes in 5 years? How many years is the debt service? And I'm looking forward to entering my parcel number here so I can have that information in front of me. And I'm assuming on the back page, if it passes, it will say, we have debt service courthouse right now. So I'm assuming it'll be debt service county jail on the back page per the yearly thing. And I'm anxious to find this out. I will also be voting early in person because I'm afraid I won't get back in time from my trip from November 7th. So I'm glad we're moving forward on this, and I'm even more excited to see this educational campaign and the widgets so I can understand my taxes increase per year and how many years will I be paying for the referendum if it passes. Thank you very much.
That's right. That'll be good. Thank you, Eddie. That's good. Now, Matt, it'll be really good to get that all put together. We're gonna talk about that tonight. Anybody else? No one?
Brad Richards, I live here in Clarinda. After seeing the agenda, I went back and I read all of the minutes that were available, especially beginning June 29th, because that was a note that was made by Jacob earlier. And at that time, there was a claim that you guys needed to hire an attorney because of a frivolous claim that had been filed against you. And you were told that Ayers and Cooney were going to do that. And Jacob, you said we can't have Ayers and Cooney because you have a conflict of interest. You were asked about that numerous times. Ayers and Cooney is a very large company. You have yet to identify who it was that was so difficult that we had to go out and hire somebody that I think we're up to, what, $1,900 now. So you were asked if we're going to go against the county attorney's recommendation on that night as far as how to pursue, and you said yes. There was also a discussion on June 29th about hiring an attorney to help Jacob write questions to bring to the Attorney General. Clark asked if he knew if he knows the questions, why he needs to hire someone, and you stated to put them in legal form. Nowhere in the discussion that night was there a note that this was for attorney consult. It was to clarify questions that you wanted to give to the AG because you disagreed with their opinion, you disagreed with the county attorney's opinion, you disagreed with everybody except you. So I read the minutes carefully. There was nothing about the creation of $1,900 worth of stuff, because this still is only regarding minutes. This doesn't have anything to do with the complaint.
You've got your facts all flipped. We'll talk about it in a minute. We'll read them in a minute.
No, I went and read the minutes, Jacob.
Okay.
Then on July 13th, Ms. Clark stated that she was not named in the issue. Mayor agreed. Mayor made a motion to change the wording on the agenda for the supervisors to discuss action engagement on the agenda to say it was for the purpose of defense and advising Supervisor Holmes and Mayor. August 10th, during the June 29th meeting, the board approved hiring an attorney for Rose Welch Marks PLC for the purpose of defending and advising. It passed 2-1. We've asked numerous times, and you assured us numerous times, and Todd, you were the one that, when you were sitting over there, assured us you would let us know where this money was coming from. We're now 6-7 weeks into this, and during that time, we have had issues regarding money with graders, with mowers, with trucks, with rocks. We've had numerous discussions about money, but nothing has been come forward about where this extra money was going to come from for your defense. And I think it's really important that you read the minutes carefully, because it was for your defense, not the board. It was Jason and Todd's. And finally, I don't understand on the minutes why we're looking at hiring an administrative assistant, what the duties of that administrative assistant, since we have painfully discussed and reread and read the Iowa Code. Just because you disagree with it doesn't mean that it's not correct. So.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Crystal Para. Sorry, I'm really loud. I had actually written this up last week, but I personally made the mistake. I didn't realize the meeting had gotten changed, so I'm kind of following after Brad. I wanted to follow up on the question that I asked several weeks ago at a meeting. At the meeting prior to Mr. Mayor going on vacation, I asked if you could please look at the budget on the table and right in front of you, Mr. Holmes, and to let the public know which line in which the attorney fees would be coming from. As you brushed me off, Mr. Maher respectively gave me an answer that he'd be letting us know as soon as they could give this word, that he would be letting the public know. I feel as citizens, we have been very patient in waiting for this answer, but yet we have not been given it. So I will ask again tonight these three things. Tell us in which line this will be paid out of by the budget sitting right in front of you, Mr. Holmes. What was the cost for the attorney? And if there's not enough in this account to cover it, how will this be covered? As I know, the minutes always seem to take over presidency over everything else in these meetings, regardless that they're fully recorded and on the internet. It is time to stop beating the dead horse that died a very long time ago. And frankly, I know that I'm not the only community member that is tired of hearing about these minutes. I ask that the questions that are being asked weekly start being answered. For 50 or plus years, the minutes have never been an issue until you sat in that seat there, Mr. Holmes. The budget line is not the only item that you have brushed off when asked. So I ask for tonight that you guys give us an answer to these three questions.
Okay. Anybody else on the minutes? Just to say real quick, in the last 100 years plus, the board has never not approved their own minutes. That's what changed. Things changed on us. Go ahead. Anybody else got anything else? We didn't change anything. It was changed on us.
Hey, everybody, it's been a few weeks. Sorry, county fair and stuff. I'm sure you're happy I'm back. My name is Ann Dalkey Taylor. I'm from Clarinda, Iowa. So I missed a few things. Don't worry, I caught up on YouTube. Lucky for me. I think we all have personal opinions about the goings on here and about some of the individuals that are here. And my honest opinion is that when it comes down to the way you're treating employees, if there's a defense that needs to be paid for because of bad behavior, maybe that money needs to be a personal, maybe you need to cover that personally. And if at the time of whatever happens, it turns out that you were in the right, at that point, you should be reimbursed by the county. But if you're found to be in the wrong, that should by no means fall on your taxpayers. If you're treating your employees poorly to the point where they feel like they need to put in an HR complaint against somebody who can make their lives miserable, and I can only imagine the type of bravery it takes to put in a complaint against somebody who has the ability to do that and still show up to work if that person is indeed still showing up to work, then I applaud that person for standing up for themselves. And I do not think that we should, as taxpayers, have to pay for your defense unless you are found to have not been in the wrong. If you're found to have not been in the wrong, then great, we'll reimburse you. But why in the world are we racking up defense money for poor behavior? It's absolutely asinine. Furthermore, what in the world we need an administrative assistant? I don't know. I went to years of meetings, not with this board, with another board over Pierce Creek, and not once did they have an administrative assistant. I understand, okay, whatever, I get it, yeah, I'm sure there'll be an excuse for the next thing that you want. The other thing I'm a little irritated about is this: you two vote and you don't even talk to Judy half the time. This last thing that you just did, what was the thing just now? Oh, the people on the screen. Yep, oh, yep, okay, majority rules.
Maybe you couldn't hear. Judy gave her opinion on that.
I said no.
Yeah, she gave her opinion.
Okay, well, but Judy's opinion doesn't matter because he votes with you every single time. What, like, can I count on two hands even the amount of times he hasn't voted with you?
We vote, we have individual votes.
Well, he's your lapdog and I'm getting a little sick of it. So anyway, the point is, at this time,
stop.
yes, sir.
That's very rude.
It is rude. I agree. It's very rude to go right over the top of Judy every time. We will agree on that. That is all.
We will not have somebody call people lapdogs in this room, please. That's very rude. Okay, does anybody have anything else to say?
If nobody else does, I do.
Okay.
I have a comment to make tonight. Last week, Todd, Jacob, and I attended state supervisor meetings in Des Moines. It was great to interact with so many other supervisors from across the state. And I was a part of many great discussions with a lot of the supervisors. It was not great on Thursday afternoon, however, after the attending supervisors had just finished discussing legislative priorities for the coming year, when Jacob stood up to address the group. And we talk about rude, okay. He immediately started bashing our county auditor, stating that Melissa was not doing her job, was failing to take proper minutes, didn't show up for meetings, failing to follow his instructions about the minutes, putting false information and personal opinion in the minutes, not providing the minutes to the board quickly enough. And his example was that we met on a Thursday night and then we met Monday morning and she didn't have the minutes to him. Publishing, not allowing the board to make corrections, publishing the minutes without them being approved, not allowing the board to hire a clerk to take minutes, and saying she'd gone rogue. One of the supervisors from another county remembers that he even called our auditor crazy. There were other statements, but I was too frustrated to write them down. I was so embarrassed. Some of the supervisors fell for this bogus information, but many talked with me later that afternoon and the following morning, wanting to know what the real story was. I wanted to get up at the time and rebut his statements, but felt that it was in the best interest of Page County and those in attendance that I not provoke further arguments from Jacob. Jacob wanted this group to adopt legislation to allow the county supervisors to hire their own clerk without the approval of the elected auditor, as the Code of Iowa stipulates. A vote was taken and it didn't pass. Many wanted to change their vote after talking with me and other elected officials from nearby counties. Jacob left after that meeting, didn't come back for the rest of the meetings that day or the next day, for which the county paid. I had the support of the surrounding counties around here, which was wonderful. They kept coming around me, asking me if I was okay during this whole time. And they also defended our auditor to numerous county supervisors. I personally do not understand Jacob's obsession with the minutes, total obsession. We've been fighting the minutes issue for the past 8 months, wasting hours and hours of discussion and arguments. We've had constant bashing of the auditor and her staff for taking the minutes. The people of Page County deserve better. The people of Page County are familiar with the minutes that have been recorded for years, giving background information and discussion along with important votes on issues. And the people of Page County have not asked that this procedure be changed. And it has saved us from lawsuits in the past by having this written documentation in the minutes. Yes, only certain things may be required to be in the minutes, but there's nothing to say that you can't put more in the minutes. Only Jacob, along with Todd's agreement, have wanted the minutes changed. I have continually stated that if you don't want it in the minutes, don't say it.
Kim, hold on, please stop.
No, I'm talking.
Okay, come on.
Our taxpayers deserve to know what's going on.
Right.
Our other elected officials deserve better. I deserve better. Instead of being told to shut up, be quiet, I'm a liar, Jacob telling me it's none of my business, told I don't know what I'm talking about. We all in this room deserve better treatment by a county board of supervisors. This is not the board of Jacob. It is the board of supervisors. The next 2 agenda items also address this same thing, where Jacob has taken it upon himself to talk to an attorney about minutes to the tune of almost $2,000 and to talk to Pella without the knowledge of subject matter or inclusion of the other supervisors. We're supposed to be working together for the good of Page County. Our taxpayers deserve that.
We should work together.
Can I make a comment?
There's a lot of things said there. One quick thing to say, and we've said this before. You say, don't say it if you don't want it in the minutes, and we have proven.
No, you don't. When other people go back
Hang
and
on, I
listen.
wasn't done yet. I let you read your statement. I politely just like to say, to respond to that. We have proven, there's statements that have been made in the minutes that I said that never were said, and they were in the minutes. So that doesn't go very far when you say, don't say it. And then we wanted it not to be there because it never happened, and it was printed in the newspaper, and the board has no say over it. So that one little statement of all that is pretty easy. We've already talked about that, though, and you keep saying that, but there has been statements printed in the newspaper, and we have proven it to you. Do we need to do that again? Do we play a video? The minutes were not accurate. Things we did not say were printed in the newspaper as minutes that we did not get to vote on. So that statement does not work. You cannot say, don't say it if you don't want it there, because it's been in there anyway. So that's just one statement, but we'll keep going. Thank you for your statement. Do we have anybody else?
I want to go on with one other thing. If you go back and listen to some of those where you've called me a liar and you said it wasn't in the minutes, or you didn't say it, if you go back and listen, you can. Other people have gone back and listened. If you go back to probably the tapes that are taken by the court reporter, you can find those things are in there. I don't believe that anything has been put in those minutes that wasn't said.
We'll have to prove that again.
And part of the time is because you're turning away from the microphone and you can't hear it.
We'll have to prove that again if we need to. We've done it already. So just that simple statement. So any other public comments?
I would just say that, I was at those same meetings Judy was at. So, I did hear Jacob put his, bid in which is how the process is supposed
What
to
you're
work.
supposed to do.
You're supposed to take that to if we're having issues, that's the process. And he did not do it disrespectfully. I also talked to lots of people, lots of supervisors. I pulled out our minutes. I showed them. They were astonished. So there's 2 sides to every story.
That's right.
So it's not just that, I'm sure you get an array of opinions that are up there at that meeting. And Judy can find people that agree with her. I can find people that agree with me and
Right.
Jacob. So to say that everybody is agreement that we're not doing what we think is right is totally wrong.
The main discussion.
It's no
point that was
different than
brought
this
up-
room being
You're
divided.
right.
And so, I mean, and I don't think when he spoke, I don't think he did anything negatively. I don't think he used anybody's name. He said that this is the problem, that laid out the facts. In fact, half the room couldn't hear him, so that was kind of the problem on the voting piece, but I don't like it that we criticize each other, and say things that just didn't happen, or that, you perceive as terrible, we are sent here to do the county's business, and we need to do that. But we also need to be factual and truthful about everything that's going on with the county business. And, when we have agendas that have a half-page paragraph as an agenda item that slanders the two people, instead of just having it as a line item so that it can be read on social media or read on the radio airwaves, I mean, that's wrong. We should not do that. That should not be part of the business that we're doing. You could have simply said, hey, I want to action on the attorney bill that we're getting per the defense of Todd and Jacob, or something to that effect, instead of putting the whole half paragraph, which doesn't even include all of the vote, the resolution that we passed, the motion. And so when we do that, that ends up causing dissent and arguments and things, and it makes us look bad, and we need to just get past that. And I mean, I know the minutes are a terrible issue, but I feel like if you feel honest that they need to be done right, then it's worth going through the motion and doing it right and getting it to where we were. And I still, to this day, do not understand. 3 months ago, we had 5 weeks of meeting minutes that were done perfect.
That's
I mean, they were done exactly how we wanted them.
Right.
What we voted on, there was no discrepancy. We didn't argue.
Right.
And I had turned those minutes back to Melissa and Kristen and explained, hey, here's what we did, and it worked great.
Right.
Why can't we go back to that? And I got no answer when we went right back to filling out all the discussion and everything else. So it can be done, and it can be done legally, and it can be done the right way. It's just, we've got to find the way to get to that point. And I know everybody's got an opinion about it. Everybody likes it. Some people, like to have all that comment. Some people don't. Some people don't need it. You're never going to make everybody happy. I get that. But when you put stuff in there that's not factual, then you got to say something. You can't just lay down and take it. And I think that's what we're trying to do. We want to be as factual and open as anybody. To the point of the money, I made a promise to you that I intend to keep. And we have not gotten any bill until just now. So I had nothing to pay, nothing to take money out of.
Doesn't mean you still can't tell us what line it's.
Today, I will tell you, okay? So I've made that a commitment that I plan to stand by it. So, but we have not gotten any attorney fees for defending us.
No.
There's nothing that has been done. I haven't even spoken to an attorney. So none of that has anything, we haven't done anything with those people yet, because there hasn't been a case, there hasn't been anything going forward with that except for interviews and investigation piece, which is being done through our insurance company, and the insurance company is paying for that. So that piece of it, I just want people to understand that. The motion with, or the attorneys with the minutes, we made a motion, and I printed it out, and I know Brad mentioned most of it, but there's a piece of that says general issues. So it covers more than just asking about the attorney general. And so I think, as far as I'm concerned, what we voted on was what we've done. So, but to your point, we'll make sure that everybody understands where we're taking that money out of,
Right.
because that is important. And we did say we were going to do that. We're not going to be deceitful or try to hide that. Okay. So I want to make sure everybody understands that.
Can I just also make a statement, like you keep talking about how the paper and KMA are getting the minute taken,
Please go up to the,
but hear me?
well, please go up to the podium. They can't see you on
Oh,
that.
yeah.
When Tom was coming.
You keep talking about how the paper gets all the information wrong, but I do know, I work for the school, there was lots of information that was incorrect when we had our issues a while back, and they had to go back and repurpose it, and it wasn't from minutes, it was strictly just from the writer doing it incorrectly. And I know for a fact, not too long ago, Jacob had an interview that he ramrodded the windows. I don't know if ramrodding was probably the word the paper should have used, because he was not the only person on that board. So I don't know if that was an interview or the minutes, but you can't blame the minutes on the media doing stuff incorrectly.
No,
They didn't do anything
And
incorrect.
that's what you're fully doing.
no, I think the media is just reading what the minutes are and the minutes are.
The media is on here.
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
Right, but they're also watching the YouTube and they're
Yes.
also having interviews with you guys. And it's also how you're also responding. Like, how did they come up with the word ramrodding? Was it on their own?
Yeah.
Granted, I'm glad you were on that job and I thank you for that, but you weren't the only one on it. And they made it sound like no one else worked on that project. So those are the kind of things I'm like, you can't take the media against the minutes because the media is not always correct.
I agree.
right, the incorrect thing being printed in the newspaper, we're not talking about news stories. It was our minutes were incorrect and we never got to see them, and the minutes are published. That's not the newspaper's fault. That's what was sent to them that we never saw. And they've had errors and we never had a chance to even look at them. We're not talking about news stories, if that makes sense. Tom, do you have a comment?
My name's Tom Wagner, Page County. I'm surprised that there are a lot of thin-skinned people. I have been in front of supervisors for it's been 7 years ago concerning material. I had facts, I had samples analyzed, the analysis, my expense, nothing was done. Revisited that again this year. I even talked to Judy. I talked to you after one meeting, asked if you were interested in some numbers, and I could give you updated numbers. In a impolite manner, you said you've seen enough numbers, and I said, okay. I will address, I'm on the agenda later on, but people want to get things done. Last year, some terrible deficiencies on a $3.36 million job pointed out by me to the engineer in May, to the supervisors in July, August. Once I was even denied being put on the agenda. So, I've had a pretty good taste or experience of what can go on. And I'll say one thing. There's a couple of people that are not, supervisors are not here this year, and there's a reason why. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anybody else?
Can I make a comment?
Sure, just say who you are.
Sherry Hunter. Sorry, we're on the road. I hope it's not too loud. I just wanted to let the public know that our past supervisors have indeed been dealt lawsuits and thousands of dollars for those lost lawsuits. So they make it sound like this is the first time a supervisor has been sued, and it hasn't. And nobody has been proven guilty yet. And I hate the whole fact that our country thinks that an accusation means you're guilty. And I do want to know more about the minutes, and I know everybody's tired about it, but I'm really tired of things being voted through before anyone knows the numbers. And I just want to caution you, Judy, you've done that several times in the last couple of weeks. You want to go without even knowing the numbers. And I thank you, Jacob, that you want to see the numbers. It's a big deal that our taxes are going up for all of us. And I just don't want it to be sloppy. And it takes time. And I just would really appreciate you all to seek out all the details before we start slandering everything. And to wait for numbers before you vote through. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Shane. Anybody else?
Ryan Yurkowski, Coin, Iowa. I listened to all these people. I've been coming to meetings for 4 or 5 years now. A lot of these people that were clapping, I have pretty new faces, or they're pretty recent new faces in here. When they clapped, when Judy got done, making false accusations and slander against another supervisors. the example we've proven time and time again, now apparently we have to go back because we have facts that things are put in the minutes that were not said and things were said are not put in the minutes. So your statement saying if you don't want it put in the minutes, don't say it, does not hold any water. And I'll prove a point here on your agenda item in the quotes. You tried to quote a motion and you don't even have all the words, because if you had all the words, you wouldn't have an agenda item here. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Thank you, man. If nobody else wants to speak, we'll go on to the next item here. What we have there, if we're done, the next item is exactly what we were just talking about. And before we go into that, I would like everybody to take their agenda out, if they have one. Let me see here. Yeah. Papers are hiding from me. Here it is. Yeah. Ryan just quoted here, which we did this 2 weeks ago. I don't know why we're doing it again, but just before we go into this, you go under your agenda item where it says in quotations, what we hired the attorneys for. It starts with the word for. Does everybody see that? Approved hiring this attorney, it was for, as in quotations. That's our motion. Now to read the minutes that I have from that meeting, it says for. I will start in the same spot because minutes or motions matter. The words matter. So we're voting on. It says for, follow along, the purpose of advising and consent of issues related to questions to pose to the Attorney General regarding the minutes and general issues. Mayor seconded. Mayor, yes. Clark, no. Holmes, yes. Motion carried. That's the exact wording. That's all that really matters in minutes is the motion, wording, and the votes to tell us what happened. Now, I have a question. Why was that left out of your?
Because what it says is the to pose to the Attorney General regarding the minutes and general issues. These are not questions that have been posed at all. These are you going to this attorney who lives in Omaha, Nebraska, who's not even an Iowa attorney, to have him research and come issue an opinion about the minutes that are taken in the state of Iowa. And the Attorney General has spoken. The Attorney General has been talked to. You won't even believe the Attorney General of Iowa.
We have not talked to the Attorney General. Now, I would like to ask you again, why?
Carl has talked to the Attorney General.
Please answer this question. I would like to know this because it's a big, long agenda item and I have a question. Why did you not include those 3 words?
Because it goes all together regarding the minutes and questions to pose to the Attorney General regarding the minutes and general issues.
And general issues?
General issues are not to issue an opinion about the minutes. General issues were questions to pose to the Attorney General, if you put all of that in there.
To clarify this and go into this, like Carl's memorandum that he put out, these attorneys are having to research all the code and the Attorney General opinions to form an opinion, which is what the opinion letter was that came out, which is what they're doing. It's all about minutes. Look at the bill. There's copies back there. It's all about the minutes and going to the Attorney General. So on that, I just want to point that out because when a motion, you have a very, very long agenda.
I do.
With a lot of opinion in it and some facts, but the fact is partial. You did not include all the words to a motion. Motion words matter. That's what we vote on. The motions and the minutes are supposed to be exact wording. So that does matter. So in that, so we've already discussed this. I make a motion right now, we pay the bill. This is done.
Yeah, Jacob's the only one that's.
Hey, hold on, we're doing business here before you go on. And we're not, this is not public comment time either. Hold on. I made a motion.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, we have a second. Now we're discussing, we can open up in a minute. I'm just trying to do business properly. So I made a motion to pay the bill.
Why didn't Todd talk to him? You're the only one that talks to him.
Okay, I can talk. When
No,
you remember,
I can talk for myself.
go ahead.
So when this came about, and Jacob had already talked about maybe reaching out, he had a contact, somebody had, said that maybe we should use this lawyer. I felt that there was no need for me to be involved until they asked me, and nobody's really asked me. I agree with everything that Jacob is doing, so why get involved until they ask me, a question? And if I needed, I am trusting him that he's doing the right thing, and he, we can't talk outside meetings, so the only way I get information is here. So I assumed that if there was something that came up and they needed my opinion, the attorneys would call me. Otherwise, I was pretty clear on the agenda, the motion that we made to pass it.
Right.
And Jacob is the
It was-
chair, and so,
So now let me add to that. So we're building this draft to bring to the board. When the draft is built, they got the opinion letter, now I'm doing the draft to bring to the board, and then we all look at it and make sure we're good. We'll vote on sending what we send on. I'm not gonna do it alone. They're building a draft. You have to do research to build a draft. They're researching the minutes and the issues to make sure they even advise we go forward, and they do advise that. So we already talked about this. We talked about what it was for. We voted to do it. Judy did not vote for it. We voted to do it and pay the bill and do this. Now we're here again, talking about the exact same thing to vote on it again. We've already voted on it. So I made a motion. I said, I call the question, pay the bill or not.
I
I
got,
call the question. We've already had that length discussion about this. At length. We did it when we hired them. We talked a long time. Everybody understands? This is for the minutes, going to the Attorney General. As soon as we resolve this, it's over.
there are no questions there at all. There's his opinion. As
That's
an
the
attorney.
next step. It's one
No,
step to the next.
that's not
I
what
called
you
the
were-
question.
so,
Roll call, please.
Mayor,
yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark,
No,
All right. Well, we voted twice to pay the same bill, to pay the bill. So we'll get that done. Okay. Now we have up next on the agenda. There we go.
Could I say something?
Yeah.
So just back on that, just to make sure, because I want to be transparent, and I want you to know where we're getting the money from. So, okay, so
Yeah,
because
forgot
we voted to pay this bill and we're gonna be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
And so you have saved us. I mean, you gained us about 40,000, which I, was surprised from from the window project, which was,
And we're gonna talk about that here in a minute.
yeah, because we almost ran that through and I would have settled for the 35, but
Well, let's,
anyway, so, and we have a lot of things that we've cut. We've cut our, our wages, we've cut other things. So I don't know, you have a line bid.
I would say for now, we take out the Board of Supervisors budget.
Okay.
And we'll amend if need be. We'll amend our budget for legal fees. The board has lots of legal fees. We do this all the time. This is not
Okay.
unusual. When I came in here, there was all kinds of stuff going on with lawyers and the previous board. So this is not unusual. We'll take it from the Board of Supervisors. When it comes amendment time, we'll decide to amend if we need more money to cover any bill. So on that, we're gonna go up to the Pella Corporation.
Is there any chance for a comment right now or not?
Well, we're gonna go to the window issue right now, so we're moving on to
Okay.
that. And we'll move right to that, so. What we have next up on the agenda is discuss action accepting change order offer on the courthouse windows from Pella Corporation, so we can move forward with the window installation put on by Judy. So. Let's see. I told everybody I was gonna go try to go, last week we talked about this in our phone meeting.
Yeah.
And I asked if you were good with the 35,000, and you said yes, and I said I was not. So Todd recused himself from this, so put us trying to figure a plan out.
so you talked to Pella.
Yes, I did, I called him.
And what tactics did you use with Pella?
Tactics.
Tactics.
I can read my email if you want. Tactics. I negotiated. Tactics. You want me to read my email here? Gotta find it. I actually had no phone number to even go. James didn't, the cell phone numbers are private, so he said, just look them up on Google. So I Googled Pella. And I called the number from Google and I told a receptionist I had an issue with some windows. I had talked to whoever would be in charge of handling a warranty issue at the top. And I ended up getting called back from the person who'd been working with James. And, very nice, very quick to get a hold of, compliment Pella. It was fast. They called me back, we visited. I said, I did not feel that it was enough. I talked to the architects, they didn't feel it was enough either. They kind of threw that out there, percentage wise. And so they said, would you like to make what you feel is reasonable? I said that you stated you were good with 35,000, and I was not. So I did some math, I have my email here if I can find it. Assuming 350,000 is half materials, I'd assume that because I didn't know exactly what they cost. I said a 20% discount would be a normal discount applied to a window that was visually wrong at a store like anywhere, Lowe's or anywhere. So I said, I believe it'd be fair to take about 75,000 would be fair to have our windows not match our plans and get a 20% sale on them for not matching the visual architect design. They submitted that, and I am very happy. It came in just a little while ago. They accepted. So we're gonna get 75, and I think that's fair. They thought it was fair. We're gonna get 75,000. Ella was very good to work with. And I believe that's a fair, and if you think that's good, then I say we go forward, and then we can get this to Carl and have him look at it, but I'm very happy that, and this is what I do with business. This is business. It's like any business. You negotiate things. And we have it in writing also. We have the legal document here. We're not agreeing to something we can't see, and I believe Carl should look at it, but we actually sign it. But I was told the warranty does not change. This is only to accept the change order of the visual difference. It's nothing of any structural problem. So I'm excited about that, and I'm happy about that. And I'm tickled that they were very fair with us, and I think it was fair. We're all in agreement, or I was with them, and if you are, the county just made another $40,000 to the taxpayers win. And Pella was very, very quick to get back with me and work good. So if you're in agreement, I'm ready to move forward once Carl okays the legal document. And I'll pass this out. I got it for everybody. They send it in just soon. Right, let me, let's see here. There's one. I sent the email they sent with it. Let's see, here's one. Okay. So if you look there, it says, the 75,000. And then we all have to sign it on the back page. And I highlighted there, if you go to the bottom of the first page, it says, the warranty will apply. This does not affect, I was concerned about that. I didn't want to accept a cheaper price and have the warranty be effective. They assured me, no, does not affect the warranty in any way. It's just because it was not done according to plans. And so I'm tickled. We got another 40,000 to work with on something else around the county. So it paid to wait an extra week and negotiate, and this county's got to be run like a business. That's what I ran them. That's what we did. So, and we didn't gouge them. I think it's a fair agreement. So I'm good with this. I don't know if we should make a motion yet, or if we should wait until Carl looks. Probably wait. Let's wait till Carl looks at it, and then we can. I'm good with doing a special meeting for this. If Carl looks at it tomorrow, we can maybe throw an agenda out for. Well, I guess we got Friday. Depends what time we do. I don't care if we do Saturday to get where James can start Monday morning or do a Monday morning where he has.
Monday's a holiday.
Well, I'm good with doing a special meeting. We can get an agenda out so we can, once Carl's had a chance to look at it, we can say okay and get James to go in as quick as he can. But I think it's a good deal, and I want to compliment Pella for working with us and agreeing to, I believe, a very fair offer. So that's that whole item. So I'm good there. Are you good with that?
I'm good with it. I just worry about, in the future, whether vendors are gonna continue to work with us when we use tactics that, maybe aren't the best thing to do. And I'm just saying, you know, you acted alone. You didn't talk to Todd, you didn't talk to me.
Can't talk.
No, but you didn't talk to me either.
He's recused. I did ask you very clearly. I said, I'm gonna go negotiate. I told you that. If you're good with 35,000.
But you didn't talk to me after you talked to Pella.
Well, I got something from him. Now I'm talking to you.
That's fine. Now, tonight you are in front of
It's
everybody.
been
but
1
not
week.
here. Yes,
We talked about last week on the
What?
meeting. But, so, yeah.
we can talk in here.
Okay, well, just,
He can send the email. He can forward the email.
this came, you can look at the date on it, 4:08
So-
tonight. But
That's fine.
what I'm saying is, last meeting, when we had our phone call meeting on last Monday, I did say, are you good with 35,000? And you said, yeah.
I said I was good with it because I wanted the project to move forward because it was holding James up and everything
I
else.
understand. And I
The
said, I would,
$75,000 is great, but I still worry about working with vendors in
and
the
I
future.
said, in that meeting, I said, and I don't think it's enough. I would like to negotiate, and I'm going to. I did tell you that. And then the next meeting,
That's
I gave
fine.
it to you. So we're good.
I think we need to vote on it now, pending Carl's approval.
Well, maybe.
And that way we can move
If
forward.
it's, I'm okay with that. If it's pending, and we have to all sign it, pending Carl's approval, I'm okay with that. Let me
Yes.
put that in the motion. That's a good idea. So Todd's recused from this because he works with Pella. So
I'll move that we accept the $75,000 discount from Pella for the windows, pending the approval of the county attorney's reading of the, release agreement.
I will second that. Okay, so we got a motion and a second. We've had a lot of discussion already, and I think it's good. They're gonna get started next week probably. So I guess, any other discussion, Judy?
No.
And this is not a discount. This is change order, because they had an
It's a
error.
change order, so it's basically a discount.
So maybe, yeah,
It lessens what we're going
and
to
then,
pay.
and I think their document says change order, so maybe say change order, is that okay?
Change order's fine.
Put the word change order in there. Okay, so we're good?
Can you say it exactly, you wanted to write it, so it's exact?
Yeah, let's read.
I move that we accept the $75,000 change order from Pella Corporation pending the approval of the county attorney of the release agreement.
Okay, I second that, to get the wording, right? Okay, we discussed it, this is good, we're gonna go on, we're good? Yes, please,
Holmes,
yes,
Clark.
Yes,
good, get that going, okay. All right, let's see what we got here.
you want these back?
You can have it, no,
I've got two, you only need one.
I didn't know if some, maybe I'll see it right here, okay. Okay, I'll get my papers in order here. All right, next up here. I'm getting thirsty up here. The next thing, I have on the agenda here is to create a part-time position for administrative assistant board of supervisors and, post that position to receive applications. I put this on here. We had an issue a couple weeks ago where the, agenda did not include the minutes. And I was told last week that that's because I asked for the clerk or the auditor to follow Iowa code. I was really confused by what she meant by that. We have a lot of drama in this, and I don't want to get rid of the drama. And a lot of counties do have administrative assistants to help with things, and the auditor has said, I think more than once, that she'd be fine with us having somebody do the agenda. Because that's not, in code, the agenda is not like the minutes. We can hire somebody to help with clerical work. So we put this on there, and the comment made last week about me saying to follow Iowa code, and then she left the minutes off the agenda, never asked for that. It was about, I have an email here I sent the week before when we were looking at road graders. I asked to put, it was a special thing, we're meeting at the county barn at an earlier time. I've never been a part of a meeting like that where we do that. And so I said in my email, please add whatever wording and changes are necessary to meet code and accomplish this special addition to the agenda at a special time. And then, I went on, she asked me again exactly what I wanted. I said, the part about the special time and location, and then the recess until 6 needs to change a couple of things in your template. So I suppose you would have to do the same way in similar situation from the past to meet code. I'm just asking her, making sure it's right. I don't know exactly how to put at the top. I was met with, she left the minutes off the agenda altogether, which I don't know if that's ever happened in Page County history. I'm not sure if that's ever happened. So I just don't want, we just need somebody to make our agendas that we just get, maybe this will help. And so I put together, I have it here, I just typed up, we can add, I made it double space so we can all work on it, any wording you might want. Here you go, Judy. I just made a really simple little help wanted thing we can put on the website. If we could find somebody, it's part-time. This is just a draft. You guys look at it and see what we think. So I'll go ahead and read this, and then you see if you see anything we should change. We post this website. This help wanted, Page County Board of Supervisors, part-time administrative assistant. The Page County Board of Supervisors are seeking a part-time administrative assistant for the purpose of preparing agendas and other miscellaneous clerical duties for the board. Applicants should be knowledgeable on computer usage and proficient in Microsoft Word and Excel. Hours will range from 1 hour up to 19 hours per week, with a day or evening hours as necessary. Pay will be, I don't know, we can talk about, let that blank, per hour, depending on qualifications. As a part-time position, county benefits are not applicable. Resumes will be received by the supervisors. I thought of our supervisor email until September 20th or until job is filled, if we can put on the agenda if we have enough to look at. That's my kind of rough, pretty simple little thing. We just need to maybe, if you guys like it, an hourly wage to up to, if, and how qualified.
Where's the money coming from?
Well, again, to put on the supervisor budget, and when it comes time to amend, we'll amend from where we see deemed necessary.
What are the duties going to be?
Well, I put on there to prepare the agenda, and if we have any other task.
For 19 hours a week?
Up to 19, did you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
I didn't know if you saw it. I said 1 up to 19. I'm okay with looking at this. I did 19 to be for sure we were under 20. That's just a suggestion. I don't think it'll take that much, and it just might help. Like I said, we just went through a week ago. We didn't have the minutes even on the agenda.
Right. Yeah.
And so
And we've done the agenda. I mean,
Yeah.
I think your wife did the agenda
yeah,
for
we did it
several
for
weeks,
several weeks
and
in the beginning.
so, I mean, I don't,
I don't have a problem with
And
that.
then with no pay. So,
Yeah, and
So what other duties are you going to have this person do? What is there that you,
The agenda is the main thing. We've done it if we need some other help. I don't know. Maybe with some tasks, maybe nothing. I don't know. If we need some clerical duties. I looked up several counties have this for help. I don't think it's gonna amount to hardly any money. I just hope it will maybe make things better and it won't cost.
do
hardly
you
any-
expect them to take the minutes?
No, they can't take the minutes. In
Okay.
Iowa code, the clerk takes the minutes right now. So unless they decide to, a lot of counties, the clerk will allow the board to hire somebody, but that's not there. This would not be for that. It only is for what it says. It says preparing of agendas and other miscellaneous clerical duties. If we need some help on some paperwork. I don't-
So you who are all about saving money now wants to hire somebody.
Well, this is, I just saved the guy 40,000. If we're talking about, what kind of
We're
wage are
gonna
we
hear that
thinking?
forever.
I don't know what to say. You just brought up saving money. So that's why I said that. So what do we think's a fair wage? What's our part-time people make?
I don't agree with doing this.
what's it worth
I think
not
it's
to argue
ridiculous.
about the agenda?
I'm not trying to argue
I
about,
said, what's it worth not to argue about the agenda?
yeah,
That's ridiculous
Price.
to pay somebody to do the agenda.
But
the minutes were not on our
I mean-
agenda last week.
So what? One time. So they're back on tonight. So you want to hire
I
somebody
would
now
like to
because there
hire
wasn't
somebody.
something on the agenda last week.
We've also, just to go into that in January, and that's why I did the minutes for several weeks. I asked for a they asked for a template. So we did a template. For weeks, I did a template. I numbered them. I did all these things, more detail. And we asked as a board for that to be followed. And then we gave it back and they didn't follow it. They don't do it. So we would like to have somebody to maybe just take this over and I don't think it's gonna take very long, an hour a week. We're not, so what's our wage discussion? I understand you're not interested in this. What do you think? Are you interested in this at all, Todd?
I would not do more than minimum wage. I don't think it's a big
So-
task. I
Okay,
do, I mean,
No, it's not.
But I also think, we definitely need to be as transparent as possible for, what this is gonna entail. And I don't wanna get into a thing where we end up, paying a lot of money to somebody that's just doing one little
well,
thing.
if somebody,
One thing.
And,
if
and
somebody charges
the,
10 hours to make an agenda, we're gonna fire them.
well, no, yeah, that's.
That's the only thing.
Have you thought,
It has to be restrained and, strict as far as, and they have to know, I mean.
have you
there's-
thought that if you communicate with the auditor, that you wouldn't have to do this?
I just read what I communicated. I sent this to Melissa, to the agenda, and I said, please make sure this is correct on the agenda. And then restated, said it again, and then the next week, she took the word that I said, make sure that item meets Iowa code. And said, I'm not gonna put the minutes on there, because that doesn't require an Iowa code for it to be there, but we put the Pledge of Allegiance, which is an Iowa code recommendation. We put Board of Communication, which is not Iowa. So it's drama, and I don't want any more drama. We need to. hire
Because you
somebody to do
won't
this.
talk to Melissa.
I have email right here.
You
to her.
won't talk to Melissa. Let Todd talk to Melissa.
And well, and I did, in all fairness, I did email Melissa this week about the agenda because
Yeah.
she did say that she wasn't gonna put the minutes on there. So my question was,
Yes,
do I need to request to have the minutes as part of the agenda?
yes.
And I
And she
see
put 'em
you
on
guys
there.
were on there and she goes, they will be on the
And she
agenda.
put them on.
Yes.
That's all you have to do.
And-
You don't have to hire somebody. You just have to communicate.
But I don't wanna have to do that every week,
No,
ask if this has to be on there or that has to be on there.
She's not a mind reader.
it's been on the agenda for
But-
over 100 years.
We've never,
Okay, but approving the minutes, that's one thing.
100
But,
years.
but the
maybe
other things that are
150.
on the agenda, she's not a mind reader.
no.
You have to send it.
Right.
You have
I
to
agree.
send what
I
you want
agree.
on there.
Yes, I agree. And we
Yes,
have,
we
and
do.
that, we're not talking about that.
We do.
I mean, I've always gotten stuff on the agenda that I've asked.
Right,
And I think everybody
yes,
here has for the most part.
yes.
The thing that is disturbing is when you have an agenda that is normal all the time, we've never had, it'd be like having an agenda that comes out without the Pledge of Allegiance.
Do you ever make a mistake?
No, I was.
Do you ever
told-
forget to do
Hold
something?
on, a discussion. I was told last week it was done on purpose.
I know, but do you ever
It's not a
forget
mistake.
something?
Yes, I mean, you do.
Yeah,
You
It's
forget
not a
stuff.
mistake.
yeah.
But I would assume that our agenda is probably a cut and paste and we just put stuff in there and the top three things always stay the
But
same
not
every
always.
week. And
Not always. You
I'm
can't,
assuming.
you can't assume.
Right,
that. You
I'm
can't
assuming that,
assume
but-
anything.
I mean, if I was doing the agenda, that's the way it would be, because I wouldn't want to type that every time.
But sometimes things
So-
get on there.
If we're taking stuff
error.
off on purpose and we're making a game of it.
That was taken off because it
Is
was
it to make-
advised by the county attorney that it didn't need to be on there.
The county attorney does
The
not
county
believe the
attorney-
minutes
so
should be on the
why
I
agenda.
did-
believe, and there's nothing, there's
Hundred and
no,
fifty years.
there's no requirement that it be on.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So-
since,
When we're arguing about transparency, then we don't have to we wouldn't even have to have the minutes. We could just take minutes off public comment and everything, correct? Because it's
Sure.
not on there. I mean,
you can do whatever you want to do anyway, so what difference does it
that's
make?
what we're trying to say is, we're
Yeah.
just trying to take the game out of the,
Yes.
Okay,
So-
communicate,
trying to,
communication.
Emailed her. We went back and forth very professionally. You can read it if you want. But she took this very professional interaction we had on email as to, oh, he mentioned code, I'm leaving it off. And then I brought it up, why wasn't it there? And, well, because you mentioned Iowa code and it doesn't require minutes. Well, it doesn't require
That's
board
true.
communication either.
Because you mention Iowa code all the time with stuff that really isn't in there, and so,
Oh, that's your
you
opinion.
know,
Anyway, we got to decide.
communication.
I'll call for the question.
Call the question. So let's vote on it. Do we hire, let's get a dollar amount first.
Yeah, because I don't know what,
What do you think? 10, 12 bucks an hour? That's, I mean, we're not
$10
talking
an hour.
10 bucks an hour, up to $10.
I don't know what minimum wage is nowadays.
I don't either, but that's a very,
Anybody know?
very fair wage for somebody to help us with
Yeah,
this.
I
So,
mean, it's not gonna be a,
To do an agenda, you're gonna pay somebody $10.
yeah. So anyways, there we go. So we have a dollar amount. Are you good with the way this is and posting it to the website, and collecting applications?
yes, and I would like to make sure that we all see the applicants.
Okay, that goes to
And-
everyone.
Okay,
And whenever we get enough and we think we're good, or after that date, we will, if we get any, we will. With that big pay, I bet we're gonna get a lot of applicants, don't you think?
yeah, we may not get anybody.
Not kidding. We did have a question called. I am sorry.
Okay,
I don't know what to do.
no, I'm just saying, if you're going to post it, make sure you have equal opportunity employment on
Yep.
that
Yep.
it is by
Thank you.
the code for that you don't discriminate, the
Yep.
basic statement on the bottom of
Okay, thank
any
you for that.
job announcement.
I did not.
Yeah, I
I've
would
seen
make,
that and I did not read that in there. That's good. Thank you, Heidi, for that. We will add that to the bottom and maybe we should run this. Or I'll look at a previous app. We've hired lots of people applications, make sure we look at the template for that. So I'll add that to the bottom of that, or equal opportunity. Thank you for that. So we have $10 an hour, up to $10 an hour. So that's the top. We've got a high pay here. The resumes will go to all three of us. That's our supervisor email. We can see as they come in, if any come in. By the 20th, if we have any, at some point, if we have enough, we'll put on the agenda and we'll hire somebody. So we have a call to question. Would you please have us vote on that, Kristen?
Maher,
yes,
Holmes.
Yes.
Clark.
No,
Okay, got that done. All right, let's see, what's next here? All right, position, we have the jail, big discussion on the jail.
Good evening.
hello.
What you're getting handed out are the floor plans and an architect's rendition of what it will look like.
Hold on one second, I don't want to go any farther before I get in front of you. Did we, I'm gonna ask Chris, did we get a motion in a second on that last item to hire the assistant? Did I have a motion in a second on that? I did, Todd made a motion. I'm just asking if we did, I don't remember, as we were talking so much. Did we have a motion in a second?
I called the question, but I don't know if I made the
Now
motion.
we gotta remember all the
So-
discussions.
Okay,
He made a motion.
You made the motion.
okay, I made the motion, you seconded it.
Okay, well, I can't remember. Make a motion on
I'll
that.
make a
last-
motion that we hire an administrative assistant for under $10 or less.
To help with the agendas
Yep,
and other clerical
Oh.
duties,
help with the agendas
and other clerical.
and
duties,
other clerical duties.
If you like. Okay, I second that. Is that too, did you get all of it? Good. Other clerical duties, thank you. Sorry, Lyle, we had
It's
to,
okay.
sometimes we get to talking and
You
get our
know, get
motions
some
going.
things sorted out.
All right, now we go to the jail. Let's go to the jail. Not go to jail.
The jail committee has met several times.
Yes,
We have come down to a preliminary on what the floor plan is. We've weeded it down.
Yeah.
Several million, several times. And we have come to a plan as well as an architect's rendition of what the building would look like. Personally, I'm very pleased with what the building looks like. I don't think it needs to be a big architect's dream. I think it needs to be pretty plain, very functional, very safe, not only for the staff, the citizens of the county, but the people that we're housing inside of that facility. There are numerous views. If you can look at that, if you haven't already. We cut down, like I said, several things. Emergency management was cut out of the building. There was a 2-car garage and a wash bay in that building that was cut out at this time. Just try to cut some square foot down. The garage could have been beneficial, but I understand when the price comes off in square foot, we need to do everything we can. Maybe at a later date, we can put something up so that when we have people down to work on our vehicles. As far as our electronics or anything like that, we have a place that is out of the weather. It's nothing fun to try to be standing outside in below zero weather, fixing a light bar or fixing a radio or camera equipment for several hours. Especially when your hands have to be nimble to move some of that stuff. Does anybody have any questions?
No,
I've been a part of all these, so I
I
know.
think
what
it
you're
looks
doing.
good. I think you guys have done a great job.
Yeah, I would say this started, how many square feet bigger, Greg, like 6,000 or something? It was a bunch.
It was almost 6,000 square feet larger, and has been reduced by that amount to get to
Yeah.
where we're at.
To the, pretty much the basics here.
As Lyle mentioned, there were some offices that were removed. EMA was removed, the salad court was reduced in size, there were hallways reduced. I mean, we did all we could to take more than 20% out of the square footage to reduce, but yet still have a safe and operable facility.
I'll say this, I'm sitting in all these meetings, or most of them, there was a lot of thought into putting in to condensing the smartest possible, and there was good ideas to come up with about every time that it went down, so, yeah.
I think that functionality, this is about as small as we can go and still be functional to suit the needs of the county, not only for today, but hopefully for the next 50 years. I've said it several times, but the magic ball doesn't quite show us what the next 50 years in Page County are going to bring. I don't think anybody knows exactly what that is. Going over these, we started off with 4,496 basically square foot for the sheriff's office. That is reduced down to 2,736 square foot. It has been cut, dissected, and dissected again. Jail housing actually went up a little bit. After all, that's what this is.
Right.
When you start moving around what you have on how you can make it efficient and safe for the staff,
Right.
and very efficient for the inmates as well as their safety down the road. With Iowa law, we have to make sure we do that and follow the law for the state jail inspector.
Right.
There's certain requirements that we have to have in there as far as square footage per inmate, exercise square footage, different things like that. As stated, we cut the Sally Port down. It won't hold 2 cars, but it will hold 1 ambulance or a patrol vehicle. It will not hold much over an ambulance at that point. There is 1 entry point in from the Sally Port. I know that this drawing shows 2, but we have rendered that down to 1 to come in. I think that's very important. They come in, and when they do, we have staff there to take care of them. Is there any questions from the board on this? Or I should say on this floor plan, as well as the rendition of what the outside of the building would look like.
And Lyle, this, you did say this is going to, what'd you say, 45 beds?
It's
Occupancy or?
37, I think.
Oh,
We're down to
37.
37. We had to cut out,
Okay.
excuse me, Todd, and yes, yesterday Last night in our discussion after the EMA, one meeting, we did cut another pod out.
Okay.
So we lost another chunk of beds in there to try to reduce our floor space.
Yep.
There are several, I think our biggest dorm, as they will call it, or pod, is a 6-person pod. That reduces the amount of people that don't quite get along. I mean, they're in jail, yes, but we still have to, we can't put someone in there that's gonna get in a fight with someone else or a
And there's a lot of
Conspiracy.
classifications, right?
a lot of
Just
classification under the Iowa code that has to be met in these. There's a lot of thought that went into this from Samuel's group. They have a great group of people that have helped us with this. There was a time, when the chief jailer and I, Tony Shackelford, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. Tony has a part-time job as a bus driver, and I think he's in Lewis Central right now, so I hope he's watching and listening. And yes, Tony, I did mention your name, so you'll stop. But that's a little joke. Tony and I try to work as well together as the rest of our staff does too. A lot of thought has gone into this, not only with our staff, but the jailers. We listen to what they have to say as far as what their beliefs are. Tony has almost 30 years of experience in that jail and is very knowledgeable about that as far as talking with other jails throughout the state on things like that. So we did listen. There was a time where we were cutting out rooms and pasting them over onto other places to try to help Henry Kropp, Henry the architect, and try to get all that positioned how we felt for Page County this would be best suited.
Right.
We moved dispatch around a little bit. We cut some things. We decided that reception would be at the front. If we do get this passed, all of the phone calls for this facility would come into dispatch and then they would send them out too. It's not just a 911 dispatch, it is a complete dispatch. Would kick them to civil jail, sheriff's office. And in sheriff's office, depending on who's in there, we can do that. We have 2 dispatchers currently on duty. I know that this floor plan shows a 4-position dispatch. That is just because that's the template that they have. It can be modified for our 3-position dispatches we currently have. Talking with our director down there, Summer Fletcher, on what the needs for dispatch are. Dispatch is down to 816 square foot, which basically is dispatch, a restroom, a small kitchenette, because they are in that room for 12 hours a day. And then it has pretty much just that. Her communications office is across the hall from there, and that is a very small room. Very, very small room. But basically that comes down to if she needs to pull somebody in or do interviews or have a personnel issue where she needs to pull somebody out of there and meet with them outside of dispatch, so that not everybody in dispatch sees, no matter what the situation is, you want to try to keep that personal when it comes down to personnel issues.
With all the cells, Lyle,
Pardon me, Judy.
with all the cells, can you keep juveniles and women?
Can we what?
Can you keep juveniles and women?
There
Is there separation enough?
Yes, yes. So it requires a sight and sound separation, which we now meet with the sight and sound in our dated facility, I'll say, 1936. It's kind of dated. Yes, with this, we could house some juveniles, which if you look at what the Southwest Iowa Detention Center charges, and I think, Jacob, are you on that
Yes,
board?
it's very expensive.
So you know how much per day they charge
It's
us.
very expensive.
We have used a neighboring county's jail to house juveniles. There are some requirements in that.
Right.
When you house juveniles as far as what you can and can't do.
Right.
And it depends on the juvenile's needs at that point. If they're still enrolled in a school, you have to provide a teacher.
Yeah.
And such and so forth. But I think it's a very workable floor plan. It's pretty tight.
Now, on the, we talked about this, maybe you're gonna say it in a minute, but it's built in a way, if you're looking like on the drawing in the northwest corner there, it's built to, it could be added on to. I hope we don't ever need to add on. But the jail portion is, you see the space up there in the corner?
Yep.
Northwest corner, it's made to where we could go out.
Yes. So what Jacob's getting into, if you look in the if you're looking at your paper there, in the upper left corner, you'll see something that says exercise.
Yeah.
We have to provide that. That'll be the taller part. If you look at the rendition by the architect, that's the taller part of the building because it has to have so much height to it. Which you would see in the left-hand upper corner of the first overall view.
Yeah.
Just to the right of exercise, you'll see something that says Sally Port on it. Basically what that is that is a area, if we have to have service right there, we can come in from the outside. That's a double door. We're okay there. We have to have a fire exit for them too in that part of the building. That's why it's a secured door. You can go out that hall coming from what is the pod passage. You can come out that pink, go to the white Sally Port, and you can, if for some reason in the next 50 years, or hopefully this building will last a little longer than 50, we're hoping, then you could expand. If for some reason Page County expands or the needs of the Page County jail facility, it can be expanded right there. If you look as far as expansion, then in the future, if we would decide to, if you go down right in about the center at the bottom of your page, you will see future EM addition. If at some point emergency management and an EOC or a big meeting room for training for different things is in the needs for Page County, that can be added on there. Your future EM addition would be for the office space as well as workstations. And then over to the right of the vestibule, you could add on your EOC in the public access part.
Right.
Where your entrance, where it says vestibule at the very bottom of your page, just to the right of center. There is a definite plan there for addition that's been discussed throughout the jail committee. I don't want to thank the members that could be here. I think we have two members that were unable to make it tonight, but I do want to thank the members that are here. We have Summer Fletcher with dispatch.
Right.
We have Mayor Roger McQueen from the Shenandoah. We have Chief Deputy Charles McCullough. And I'm trying to think if I've missed anybody else. Of course, Jacob's here. Myself, Gary McClarnon is unable tonight to make it. And then, of course, Greg Wild and his group have been very, very influential and very, very active in our committee.
Right.
The upper right hand where you're starting to see the square footage, or right under gross building, which is 19,733 square foot at this time. That is a spot that we could add a outside garage with a short walkway, enclosed walkway, where the garage could be not only if we have a vehicle we need to fingerprint in the middle of winter, a stolen vehicle, a murder scene, something, we can bring it in there. It can be a secured area for, I think the garage just itself, and Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, was around $800,000.
Yeah.
That we cut out of that building.
For not a real big garage, because it's.
And it wasn't, it was
in this
basically 3
project.
cars.
So doing it another way, we can save hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's my.
For $800,000 right now, I think you can build a pretty decent garage that has 3 cars with a wash bay in it.
Yeah.
And make
We could do
it
it.
heat it and make it insulated to heat.
Right,
it.
10% of that,
And
yeah.
it is something that it would have been nice, but we have to be very, very mindful of what we're doing here. I mean, we've gone through this. I know that the east side of the county got hit real hard with the tax raise, as Heidi said here at the beginning of the public comment. And I know that my taxes went up too. Looking at mine, they increased. And I'm sure that next year, as I live on the western half of the county, they're probably going to increase a little more. I look back and see how fortunate compared to other counties, Page County has been on some things with taxes in the past. And I understand there's a lot of things that go up.
And people need to realize that it's not necessarily the taxes, the levies that have caused it, but it's the valuations that have been increased by the reassessment.
And Judy, I want to thank you for bringing up the levy part there.
Yeah.
We've done some research. Tony sat down as he wasn't going to be here and present it. He asked me to, so I'll muddle through as much as I can of what he has written down, which Tony's very good at laying things out. This is an average over 2 years of the last bookings, just so you have an idea of where we're at right now. If you figure $60 a day which is about an average of what we would have to pay if we farmed inmates out. We have an average for a 2-year of inmates per day would be 5,800. So that comes to $348,000 per year. That's not on a bond referendum. That's something that has to come out of a budget, which is probably going to come out of general fund every year. That's the low part. Then if you add in 840 trips for those inmates, that's on our average. If you would go to Fremont County, that's 72 miles round trip. That's $29,520 if they have the availability and if we can get them into a $60 a day. Most jails are charging $85. Red Oak, 57 miles, that's 23,370. Red Oak's a little closer if we can get them in for that. Glenwood or Mills County would be $45,920. Taylor County is a smaller jail, so trying to manage everything, and I'm sure that Sheriff Weed would be more than willing to try to help us out as he always has been in the past, or Sheriff Johans in Adams County have been very willing to help out anytime we need anything. I can't applaud the sheriffs from the surrounding counties enough for stuff like that. If you figure an IRS mileage rate of 65.5 cents per mile, just transport, $64,721. This is on a 2-year estimate. Transport time, this is where it gets very, very close to home for us. We try to put as much time out on our roads for the citizens of these county, not only helping the citizens throughout the county, but helping out the PDs, Shenandoah and Clarinda also when they need backup, because maybe they only have one on, they're short. Right now, we're falling under that with being short ourselves on staff. And it's not because we're short, it's because of different things going on, medical, military, and we have to try to work in vacation before our employees start losing it. And the jail is having some of the same issues with trying to make sure we're filled on our shifts, and they're doing a good job of that. So transport time to Sydney and Red Oak, you figure a round trip to take them up there after they are already booked in at our jail. So we still have to have jail staff at our jail because we have to book them in at our jail, and then we have to transport them to another facility for holding. 2 hours, that's 1,640 hours, 1,640 hours. 3 hours to Glenwood would be 1,230 hours. 2,870 hours of transport time. That's taking people away from patrolling, away from answering your simple calls to I hit a deer or my car's in the ditch because it's icy, and icy it's going to take longer, to maybe out there patrolling, trying to keep the people of Page County or the citizens of Page County safe, which is one thing that I've been very adamant about. We are trying to make sure that we're out there no matter where. If I didn't say that, that's 103,320. And again, that is not something that's on a bond issue, that comes straight out of general fund. And it's something that's required by code to house inmates. So when you consider that, you're also taking Page County taxpayers' dollars and you're paying into other counties. You're helping their budget because they're gracious enough to house our inmates, but yet you're giving other counties and surrounding counties that money that could be spent on building this jail and housing and everything else that we would keep in county. Sometimes we do get housing money back from the courts. Very seldom the way the courts are working right now, and you can quote me on that. And yes, I said it, so you can put that in the minutes. I think that's something that every sheriff's very adamant about. A lot of our fines get waived in the courts. A lot of our other fees get waived in the courts because they've come up with a formula that says that they don't have the funds to pay. But yet they can have other issues that they want, beer, cigarettes, whatever else they want. I'm sorry if that offends people, but after 32 years, I can get a little offensive, I think. Availability of beds at the 3 facilities. You gotta remember that these counties are gonna put their inmates in there first because it's not costing them to house their inmates at this time, other than their normal operation costs, which the more inmates you have in, the more efficient your facility is at that point. Yearly acquisition of a vehicle due to an extra travel of almost 100 miles a year. Or if you spread that over how many vehicles we're putting on, that's another 100,000 miles a year on a vehicle. Now, the last bids I've got for vehicles, we're putting them a little over 40,000 for the base vehicle. And then by the time you upfit it, you're looking at another $25,000 to $30,000 to put the equipment in it. Again, we will still be responsible if we do not do something with this facility or get shut down for arranging, transporting, and paying for all the medical costs associated with the housing. In other words, if we do not move forward, or if the state jail inspector decides that he comes in and says your facility, as he has in the past, has said it's very close to being there, your facility is no longer adequate to meet the Iowa code, I'm shutting you down. Then you've got to remember all of those medical costs that we have to do that we pay anyway, could be going to Amber, maybe to Council Bluffs, maybe to Montgomery County Memorial Hospital, or Adams County, to their hospital up there. There's a lot of things that we have to do. It's something that we need to all think about here. What's best for the citizens of this county? What's best for this county for the next even 10 years, 20 years, 30, 50, wherever you want to go with that. We have to take a look at where we're at. We're the last county in this area to cross this path. We have put Band-Aids on tourniquets and they're starting to leak at our jail. Some of them literally starting to leak. Patrol time, I covered that earlier. We're gonna lose an average of 8 hours every day that we're taking someone that can answer calls, that can respond to 911 calls, that can respond to the needs of these citizens a day, 365 days a year. We're taking that out just so we can do our transports and go from there. That's the average. Increased liability of housing inmates out of county, including we have no control once we take them to another facility of what goes on in that facility. If we have an inmate that gets injured or gets in a fight for some reason because they put him in somewhere that maybe he shouldn't have been with another inmate, I can guarantee you, we've talked about lawsuits enough today, but we will be named on that lawsuit because he is our inmate. Think about this when you're driving down the road. How many times have people hit deer? Have they been in accidents? I've personally been in an accident with an inmate in transport. It's not a fun situation. Because what happens if, first of all, somebody gets injured, whether it's your inmate or your transporting officer, where does that leave the county? That's another big issue we need to think about. There will be some decreases in costs associated with meals, utilities, and supplies. When you start looking at what we will and won't do, you won't be feeding them, but you're going to pay somebody else to feed them. You won't have all the supplies for the jail, the toilet paper, the soap, the cleaning supplies that are going to be back there because it's going to be an empty building that we're still going to have to keep from freezing. We're still going to have a light turned on every once in a while to make rounds, to make sure we don't have a pipe burst, that we've got a high water bill or something in the end. We're still going to have some of those. But you got to remember, the staff still got to be there to process those inmates or book them in, so to speak, before we go down and transport them to somewhere else. And it doesn't matter if we're not even a holding facility. If it's 4 o'clock in the morning and our deputy just went off at 3:30, or if it's 5:30 in the morning and our deputy just went off at 3:30, we've got to call somebody out and transport them to another facility at that time. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a tornado, a snowstorm, or whatever the weather is. We have to do that because if we get to that point, are not even a holding facility. The state makes no exceptions about that. I've said it, but the other counties are going to benefit by receiving added income paid by Page County taxpayers. And that includes me. An increase in levies for housing these people, for doing all that. We've pointed out quite a few things. Are they all of them? No. I do think that this floor plan for the jail, the sheriff's office, and dispatch is a very good floor plan. It's very safe, as I've said. And I think that it has been cut down and will still serve the needs of Page County very well. We did go ahead, or you, the Board of Supervisors, went ahead and hired Samuel's group to assist us in doing that. I, for one, want to know what my taxes are going to go up if this bond issue passes. Samuel's group does a very good job. On their website, there'll be what they call a widget. You can type in your parcel number, and it should tell you exactly what your taxes would be if this referendum goes through. I am very pleased to work with Samuel's group. They're very professional and they have integrity. That's something I think we need to be very, very mindful of in this situation. Is we're not trying to hide anything. It may seem like this is going very fast, but unfortunately our representatives in our state has put us in a bind that we can only do one referendum time a year. We no longer have that option. And for other issues, this has been moved for different things over the past year. And Samuel's group is trying very hard. We plan on having several public meetings if you approve to put this on as a referendum, not only in Shenandoah and Clarinda, but I believe in Essex. And then the one where we're still thinking in College Springs, trying to put one to try to cover as much of the county to make it easy for people to get there. I don't want to do it when they're at work. I want to make it easy and we stay until the last person decides it's time to leave. Now, keep in mind, sometimes my bedtime, depending on what it is, could be late in the morning, but we will be there. This is something not only myself, but our entire staff feels is necessary. There's also several things that Samuel's group has done to help us with this. They have sat down with us. What are your needs? We have phone calls back and forth. Greg and I have been on the phone. If he doesn't know the answer, he will find it out. And that's what we want. We want the people to believe that this is what it is, because this is what it is. It's not, we're not doing smoke and mirrors. We're trying to show everybody exactly what we have, what we need, what it's going to cost. I think that's what it comes down to for the bottom dollar. I know, speaking with some people very close to me that are on a fixed income, they want to know what it's going to cost on their house. And sometimes you can afford it. Sometimes you have to say, I'm sorry, I know you need it, but you can't. But if we inform the public of what they're voting for, I think that's all we can do as a county.
What's the dollar amount?
Did you want to take a question?
I brought with me tonight a large set of plans that you have in front of you, and I'm happy to leave them here, let the public look at those, peruse those as well. I also provided you with estimated costs that you see there, so we're prepared to answer questions on that as well. I'll put these in the back right now.
I've got one question. When you do the bond issue for a jail, how many years is it usually?
The jail bond usually is for a 20-year time.
Okay.
I think that's pretty standard on a 20-year bond.
Yeah.
I know that we've looked into that for some other things. I had a question there. Right now, for the square foot that we have, and that's how they figure the cost. It's not on what's actually in the building. They have their formulas that they figure out a projected cost. If you turn to your last page, which is 8.5 or 8 by 11.5, 8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
You'll see down at the bottom in the pink what the projected cost. The cost is $832.72 per square foot. There is 19,733 square foot in this floor plan. People may think that's a lot, but when you start having to have so many square feet per inmate, that makes it very difficult to have a smaller footprint than what we have to have. Heidi, to answer your question, the total projected 2024 cost, and I said 2024 because we went up almost $870,000 in a year just with inflation, is $16,432,065.30. So if you think back to what we had before with a bigger floor plan 2 years ago, that was projected with these three entities was going to be around 14 million. So we have gone up in 2 years, cut several square feet out of this and still gone up $2 million for total projected costs. I don't see it getting any cheaper. And I think if you want to be fiscally responsible for the next 20 years in Page County, this is something that we need to educate the public on and let them decide if we need to vote for this or not.
The jail reports we've gotten for probably the last at least 20 years have said the same thing. That it's not safe for the workers, the public, or the inmates. It's been the same report every year.
To comment on that, I believe that even prior to me being sheriff, the reports said that the Page County Jail does not meet the needs or safety of the citizens of Page County, the employees, or the inmates that are housed there. So like I said, we've put tourniquets on Band-Aids and there's only so much you can do without tearing out. We've lost showers because you have to basically tear out the whole floor to get to them for the way that they're in there. And that's one thing that we plan on doing is jail tours. We will move our inmates out. I've talked to surrounding county and they're willing to help us out as much as possible for a short period of time when we have a jail tour and let the public see what kind of conditions we have. And I've heard a lot, well, they're criminals, they don't get anything. But unfortunately, in the state of Iowa, or fortunately, depending how you look at it, they have rights. I don't plan on giving them anything more than what the law says we have to. That's my feeling on it. And it's been my feeling for 30-some years. Greg, did you have anything else?
It's been a pleasure to work with Page County for the last 3.5 years. Honestly, it really has. And Jacob, you've been involved in this for quite some time. And you can see how it has evolved over that time period. I will tell you that we do not expect pricing to go down over the next year or 2-year period. There has been some easing of escalation, which is a positive. But I would recommend that if you choose not to move forward, that you factor in a 5% escalation figure for moving forward in years ahead. So it just simply becomes more expensive, unfortunately. I wish I didn't have to bear that news, but that's the reality. So I want you to have all the information that you need to make a valued decision. So.
Well, and this is not the first plan they come up with. This has been ironed out over and over. And this is not a rash, fast thing here. This has been going over and over and over. It's the most efficient one I've seen. It has been.
We've had several printouts. We started off with 4, I think, 3 or 4. Start off with, and we've cut, we've moved, we've changed. There's a lot of things that we've done that, of course, everybody would like to have. But what do we actually have to have right now?
Right, have to versus want to.
There's 2 differences there.
Yep.
And right now with what the square footage cost is, looking down the road, as we talked about with a garage, we cut EMA out. We cut some other things out. to try to cut that square footage cost down.
Right.
And like I said, this is all figured, the price is figured off of what their calculations cost per square foot. And that is everything in there.
Right.
Could it be less? Yeah, I think there's some things that with still making the building this way, moving some stuff in and out could be a little less. But I do think that this is what I would request as chairman of the jail committee, that the board would approve to put a referendum on the ballot in November of this year for this jail project. A building that would house the Page County Jail, the Page County Sheriff's Office, and the Page Comm Dispatch Center, which is dispatch for the whole county. I think it's important to put all those three entities in one building to be as efficient as possible. Because we've heard from the city of Clarinda that there is a good chance we will not have that building for PageCom, depending on what happens in the next couple of years. We need to plan for the future and we need to look forward to it.
So we need a referendum for 16
I
for that
need-
number.
I need a motion, I would say, to put that on, because there's a lot of things that we have to get done in a short period of time here.
Right.
You have bond counsel to hire, financial advisors to put on board with this. And it has to get to the Secretary of State, the wording, which has to be very specific about it,
Right.
has to be to the Secretary of State. They want it by the 15th of September, which is a push because this is the 31st of August.
Right.
But I think if anybody can educate the public as much as possible, I think the Samuels Group has a great team. They have done it before, and I believe that we can educate the people of Page County on what we're looking at. Now, as far as whether or not this passes, if it comes to a referendum, that's entirely up to the people of Page County.
That's right.
We will do the best we can to educate them on why we need this, what we need in this, and what it's going to cost them off of their parcels, their tax, what the property they own, which is what it comes off of.
Right. So we need a motion.
I would make a motion that we move forward and place the jail referendum on the ballot for November. With a proposed cost of $16,432,065.
That's the correct wording.
Good enough?
And 30 cents. Yeah.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a
Yeah.
motion by Judy to put that on.
I second.
And second, had a lot of explanation of what we're talking about here. Is there a discussion on this?
I just,
Thank you guys for all your work. Yeah, it has not been fun,
Yeah.
but
it's definitely needed. It's been needed for years and years, and I'm sorry that we've put it off so long. And I hope that the taxpayers in Page County will realize the definite need that we have and look forward to the safety of the county taxpayers for this, because it's definitely needed.
And we've talked at length about this. Some of the extra things like the garage is gonna be 800 or 900,000. I didn't think that was wise to put that on there months ago. We talked about it, and now it's gone, and we can maybe build a shed, the garage heated for 10% of the cost. And I think this is the most efficient plan I've seen. So we've got a motion, a second, and under discussion. We're good on vote, I guess. Kristen, would you please do that?
Mayor,
yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
So one more thing here with this comes, since we're talking about that referendum, is to move forward to get it on there. There's bond counsel and the auditor. I think, Greg, you've had discussions about that.
The bond counsel was mentioned, well, Spear Financial,
Mhm.
and I believe Melissa has already made some initial connection with just discussion. I don't know if there's
That's who we've always used.
any language, but
Yes.
that language is very specific.
Yes.
It has to be passed by resolution for you folks. And then also, your bond account, your financial advisor, which I believe is DA Davidson Company. I don't
I think
hold me to
that's
that, but that's, I think who was mentioned. But Melissa can also help you with that. And the reason for that, the financial advisors, they're the one that will be responsible for actually selling the bonds and determining the tax impact. They are essential in this whole process. So those two elements are really critical.
And then be on the agenda So they're gonna get in touch with us, or how we're gonna go
I
forward?
would say, as quickly as you can possibly get them on the agenda.
I'm sure Melissa will put it on for next week.
Okay.
That,
The landfill's also working with Spirit Financial right now. We just started talking with those people, and I visited with them up at Isaac a little bit.
Yep.
Also, so we'll get that on as soon as we can, get information flowing, and the taxpayer will decide.
And just so you know, I have reached out to Shenandoah Public Schools and visited with them about dates and times and using the high school auditorium. We already have in pencil 3 dates and 3 times for that.
Meetings.
For our public meetings, for reaching out and helping educate folks on the western side of the county. I've also visited with the Lead Center here in Clarinda. They have agreed to host us there, the same public meetings. 3 dates and times, so we'll get those, and I will reach out to the other 2 communities immediately based on your action today. So,
Okay,
We
good.
will also get some dates, and I'll meet with, I'll give some of the sheriffs around a call to see if these dates on a weekend seems to work pretty good. I want to avoid Sundays for jail tours if at all possible.
Right.
There's some reasoning behind that, and I think everybody understands that. Maybe some Saturday afternoons, do some jail tours so that we get as many people to go through there as can. And can see what we actually have. I think if you talk to any sheriff over the last 40 years, if they can believe how this has progressed, that yes, Page County needs a new jail. It is very old. It has served its citizens well with a lot of updates, but it is very to the point that we need to do something.
Yep.
Because I think we're right on the ledge of getting shut down.
Yep.
Those supervisors in the 30s were very practical, and they did a good job. They used cell blocks brought up, so they did a good job on the service for it, for transport. Okay, well,
Anything
we've
else?
got that done.
Nope. Anything else?
Other question?
No,
And,
thank you.
I think I told our meeting the other day, if you need this page room for anything, this room is easy if you need it for anything also. So.
Yes, yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's a big item there. Okay, we've got next up, kind of 2 things there in a row. Lincoln Township Clerk and Trustee Gary and Dee, as husband and wife, got the clerk and the trustee flipped as to what they want to be on that board for appointment. So we need to redo that.
So
And
I
so make
okay.
those motions.
make a motion that we put Gary Huseman on as Lincoln Township Clerk.
Okay, we have a motion by Todd to make Gary the clerk. You see that on the,
I thought it was
Is
the
that
opposite.
correct?
I know, but well, that's the way it's printed on here. So we had an email. Do you still have that? Boy, it's confusing because I know I don't either. I
I thought it was the opposite.
we can
I
look at-
thought we,
I don't think I have them. Cause it was, we got that mixed up last time. It's kind of confusing, but
maybe we should wait till next week.
we can. I don't have the email, so I don't have a way to look at it. Cause we had it one way and it was supposed to be the other, and I don't remember which
Let
way
me
it
look and
is.
see if I've got it here real quick.
I might have it.
You know,
Pull it up real quick.
you can see that and make sure we don't do it wrong twice. I think this is right, but I don't, I'd have to see the email again.
So this says Gary was just in our office. He stated that he was supposed to be clerk for Lincoln Township and Dee was supposed to be trustee.
Okay, that's good. So it's right on here. Okay.
Yep,
let's-
so it
let's
is
follow
right on
the-
the agenda.
Okay, so we got that correct. So we have a motion. You made a motion to make Gary the Lincoln Township Clerk. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a second. Any discussion? Discussion? Okay, let's vote on that, please.
Mayor,
Yes,
Holmes,
Yes,
Clark.
Yes,
okay. And we got the next item to make Dee Huseman the Lincoln Township Trustee. Do we have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to make Dee Huseman the Lincoln Township trustee.
Got it?
second,
Second, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mayor,
yes.
Holmes.
Yes.
Clark.
Yes,
Okay, that's what then. Now I have a whole bunch of tax abatements here, whole bunch of. For the city of Shenandoah.
the city of Shenandoah has taken all of these, so can we just not can I make a motion to approve all of the tax abatements for the city of Shenandoah? Numbers 43 through 51?
I believe so.
Okay,
We got a motion there?
Yep, I'll second that.
All right, all 43 through 51. Motion to tax abatement for the city of Shenandoah. Any other discussion on that? Okay, could you please do another roll call?
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes.
Yes.
Clark.
yes.
Okay, got that done. Now we have courthouse grounds, using courthouse grounds for the American Legion on November 11th, their Veterans Day program, 11 to 12.
I move that we approve the usage of the courthouse grounds on November 11th by the American Legion for a Veterans Day program.
Okay, that'll be wonderful. We have a second?
Second that.
All right, that's a good deal. Any other discussion? Please have another roll call.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
Clark.
Yes,
if we get to going too fast, just say pause. We're actually going fast right now. Okay, next up we have on the agenda. Discuss the dust issue in granular surface roads and reporting the cost savings for granular servicing. Tom Wagner, please come up.
Is the engineering update after that then? Cause the engineering
He's gone.
update's before Tom.
he had to,
Oh, it is? Did I skip it?
Yeah,
engineer had to leave.
okay.
Oh, it's kind of mixed in my thing here,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry.
So is it JD gone? There will be no updates. He not here? I missed that. on Facebook.
Yeah,
Okay, JD gone. We have it all and it was printed on the back, is on the table back there. This is the engineer update. He must have had to go home.
He had to go to the airport and pick up somebody else.
Okay, so that update's on the back. Feel free to go over that. It's what's going on the roads and engineering. Then after that, we have Tom. What I just said. Go ahead, Tom.
sorry. Good.
Tom Wagner, Page County. I did talk to JD and said, yeah, we could talk later about a couple things. You know, one thing on motor graders, we talked about, that you had at this one meeting, and I know something was said about the cab, size of the cab. Has there been any issue with special needs from an operator getting in the cab, climbing up the ladder? Well, why was that even brought up?
I think there's some guys that are pretty tall and big,
Jacob, there's-
so the leg room is a little different in some of them. So that was just, that's what they were talking about when they were talking about, I think, the size, some of where your legs are sitting.
I know,
I
like,
didn't have any problem because I'm pretty short, so
Okay,
it all fitted me, but
I know a lot of contractors, their employees are in the machines 12, even 14 hours a day on some very serious slopes. And anyway, I thought that was
yeah, that's,
rather interesting. But anyway, when we talk about safety, earlier this year, we talked about the schooling or the training on the blade operators. I've got some photos I just took late this afternoon. I'll send to you. You know, there's sod, there's mixed in with the material, over 12 inches, 16 inches tall. In the fall with grain cart, you need to get over and you have material that is non-uniform. There's humps, there's piles, and is that what the training taught them? In doing that, they got dirt and sod, so it contaminates the material. And we talked about material. A lot of people are not familiar with the sieve analysis, the gradation of materials. But that lower end, I'll call it a negative. All it is fugitive dust. It's a health hazard, it's a safety hazard. And we learned in math, 2 negatives is still a negative. It's just greater. That's the best way to explain that. And so there again, we continue to do the same thing. And I've got written down here, 7 years ago, back in 2016, I was asked to be put on the agenda to come and make a presentation. I did. After a radio station's employee did not report things correctly, I wrote a letter to the editor, and it was on accuracy of reporting. So I do have concerns on that. It's hard to put everything in, I get that. But anyway, after no action was done, 10/25/16, that employee called me vocal critic. And anyway, anything that I had requested, which he called demands, so you know, that's drama. That's unneeded, but anyway, there was no action. And July 19th, he called me a frequent critic. And on that there, we had a supervisor, Elaine Armstrong. She stated she has confidence in King as county engineer and supports King's judgment in the application of road materials. Well, a very good man, highly respected, Ronald Reagan, he stated trust, but verify. After 7 years of nothing being done on the rock being purchased, in that 2016, I wrote a letter to the editor. Page County residents had paid $24,000 in water alone. And that was from the sampling of the material, the percent of moisture. Why would you do that? And so Chuck Morris said, I have a passion. I told him last year, no, I just want the truth. That's all I want. And so when you made a motion, seconded it, you two elected officials, to go with a specification that had the lower amount of fines, which somebody needs to explain what positive that is. So there again, I'll call it a negative, and it's dollars. That's negative out of the account. And so I agree, and I've heard other people comment on one lady that was stood at this podium, I think 2 weeks ago, and she thanked you because of the material with the less dust and the savings of the money. And that's one thing that is not reported in the minutes. And how ironic, the same radio station, the same employee happened to cover that meeting. I read 3 of his articles. Said the windows, no action was taken. The motor grader purchases were tabled, and there was something else. He didn't say one thing about $4,500 a ton at 23, whatever the cost was, but it's over 100,000. I guess, can somebody explain to me that that's not significant? And I think that should be reported. And I know it's hard to report everything, but if that isn't significant to report, I think we got a problem here.
Well, that savings is every year.
Well, and there again, and the statement that you two elected officials made is a step in the right direction. That could not be more true. And I've got a couple samples. I did take a couple samples here. I can have those ran next week. With that blading of the dirt, extra fine material. When you think about the gradation as being a recipe, you need to have proportions, the proper sizes. And so a statement I know that you had made about looking into the cleaner stone, that cannot be more true. You have to do that to bring that negative that's clear over here to even think about getting it back into center. And maybe you need to have rent halls and educate the public on that, but the people that live out there on the dirt or the gravel roads, which that one lady, I believe she's from Essex, she understands it. And there's a lot of other people that get it.
Right.
And so there again, I just wanted to bring that up. And then as far as on, some things people have voiced their disappointment, things haven't been shoved through. There again, I started talking about material in 2016. I talked about a $3.36 million job in May of 2022. The deficiencies, I kept it up. I got email, I got dates. I can give that to all three of you. Chuck Morris, Alan Armstrong. Nothing happened, nothing happened. And so I guess, do you know, has that job been finalized?
I wish JD was here. I'd like to ask that. I don't know.
Because I stated then, it needs to be fixed. It needs to be corrected before the final shoulder was done, the final striping. That didn't happen. So now it's been almost a year. And that center line, there are no pavement markings on that. That is a total lack of performing the duty, because that is a safety issue also. And people want to know, where's money going to come from? Who's going to pay for that to go out? It was contracted. It was done. If that correction would have been performed when it should have been, then the striping would have been done in one operation. Now somebody has to go back in. So there again, that job's been finalized. Where's the money come from? And as far as on rock in 2020, I met with JD, I met with Chuck Morris. Some shouldering because of edge rut. And the edge rut was deep enough, the asphalt surface overlay that was done in 1994. It was breaking off because that edge rut was not properly maintained. So they did go out and do it. They used a shoulder machine to place the rock, and it was Mills County. And I asked, I said, why did you place it so wide? Well, that's what it was set up at. And I said, well, it takes a simple plate of iron you can put in there to reduce that width. With the trucking and everything on that tonnage, you're looking somewhere around $140,000 from Highway 2 up to the county line, Montgomery County line. Some of that is 6.5 feet wide. The slope was flat, inverted. I talked to the past supervisors, Morris, Armstrong, nothing was done. The rock was not sloped, it was flat, so it took extra thickness on the outer edge, took extra tonnage. Right. You could have reduced that $140,000 by a third if it was only 2 feet wide. Right. Just to take care of that edge rut. But the sad part of that is, I did not know that the resurfacing project for M63 was in the plan. And so on the plan, they came out with a 6% slope on that shoulder. And I emailed JD, I said, that quantity has to really underrun when that rock was laid with 0 or very little slope. And now all of a sudden, 6% slope, that's 3/4 of an inch per foot. And so on the plan, they're showing a 6-foot granular shoulder. So you're talking about 4 inches. And I said, that has to greatly underrun. And the deal is that $3.36 million project, I've got the email, I can forward it to you. $3 million came from federal funds, $360,000 came from state allocation, I guess, and that $360,000 was about 1/3, according to what Chuck Morris emailed me, of the counties, 1/3 of the county's revenue stream from that source. And so anyway, why would you take county dollars and put so much rock out there? And in that one statement, well, it's put out there for future availability. In all of my years being involved, being a project manager, interstates, turnpikes, different states, county work, I've never heard that in my life. But why do you need future availability when you're going to have a project where you're going to have $3 million federal funds and $360,000 state? Why? Can anybody explain to me the reason then you'd want to take county dollars and put that out there? And after I did discuss that, my disappointment definitely in needlessly spending money. Well, snow plows, I said, what about the side plow? Well, we can adjust those. It didn't happen, and that's been talked about in past meetings. And then they actually sent motor grader operator out there, and they intentionally, and it was a little difficult because the county forces did a tremendous job on compaction of that shoulder rock, but they just windrowed it off out into the grass. Things like that shouldn't happen. But I think, and we don't need to dwell on that a lot because that is water under the bridge now, but we sure as the heck ought to learn from mistakes. But I think going forward, I think it's very important. This rock issue, that employee with the radio station, I remember after that one meeting, I got up and left. Chuck Morris, he came running down the steps and he goes, hey, so-and-so, he wants your cell phone number, wants to do a interview. I said, that's fine. And I remember after he asked me questions, he goes, where do we go from here? And I said, well, I would think if you could save money and get a better product, I would think you'd see some changes made. Boy, I was wrong. I was totally wrong. So my experience from what I've seen, when Ronald Reagan said trust, but verify, I've been taught from past meetings, I don't trust, I just verify, because that's the experiences, those are the facts. That's not an opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
On that issue, Tom brought up a lot of technical things and like the learning about the edge rut, the side of the road, the gravel along the pavement. When they made it 6 foot wide, it was 0% or negative. I went out and looked at that back then. It makes the water run down the edge and cut all the gravel up. And it was a big waste on that. So a lot of things, hard to understand technical things there, but that wide was way too wide. But then they ground all the rock into the asphalt whenever they redid the road next year. So those things we're trying to figure out to not get, to make sure that, tell JD to make sure he's thinking about the next step, what's coming. We did at the beginning of the year, make if there's any permits for burying cables, that they have to come in here for permission to do that because we rocked a bunch of roads the week before they went out and buried cables in them, which made no sense whatsoever. And we lost all the rock, it's mud, it's terrible. And we had nothing, we didn't know what happened. So you got to make sure your ducks are in a row, things are happening. If you know they're going to rock the roads, don't maybe bury the cable the week before, line the schedule.
Absolutely.
Very valid points. And on the issue with I'm very excited about this, the fact that the different standard to buy road rock by, let's say, did this math a few weeks ago, 4,500 tons of dust. We're buying dust. Difference in two different gradation samples. We're accepting the one that takes less, that still has some smaller mix in it. That doesn't count the water weight that we're saving. It's $100,000 a year for a better mix. I'm very excited about that. That's one of the biggest things I think since I've been on this board. I think it's actually changed for the better. So anyway, so we got that taken care of. We have board communication. Do we have anything going on here?
We had our EMA and 911 meeting last night. It was, I think we had, I think Lyle's gone, but we did have like a record attendance last
Well,
night.
hey,
So,
good.
so that was amazing. They said they didn't think they ever had that many people show up. So everybody was pretty much there for the first time. And so, yeah, it was a good meeting.
Okay. Anything, Judy? Anything going on? There's none. Okay, well, I don't think what's coming up. My. Now remember, we will on, as far as, I don't know, Solutions who posts things on our website, I'll email that to Solutions, or is that who posts?
What's that?
Do you do that, Corey? Do you post like a job position or Solutions do that, or? So email them, okay. Okay. Any other communication there? We can move on to the minutes. I remember to give this. So, I just took and made them according to what we talked about in January.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's this, Judy, here's that for you. Just made them according to code requirements. You talk about that anymore? I'll make a motion.
Make a motion that we pass the amended minutes.
I'll second that motion. Discussion? Okay, give her a second there, whenever you're ready, Kristen.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
No,
Okay, get that done. Okay, now we get to adjourn. I'm sure everybody wants to go home. A motion to adjourn,
Make motions.
move.
second that, Todd, Judy seconded, Todd made the motion, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.